All right, our time is 11:06, or getting close to 11:07 now. I'm running a little bit late behind, the normal lateness of my schedule. Tim Radford here with you on WKRK 105.5 FM, 1320 AM, cable TV channel 25, and worldwide at country.am. And today I promised to be all here today. I don't remember being here last week. Sheriff and I were just talking about that. He said I was kind of in and out last week. I was getting back from a week in Pigeon Forge for the National Quartet Convention up there, and got in at 2:15 in the morning and had to be on the air that morning. So I was a little bit not as coherent as normal. Did it show?
I think so, just a little bit.
Just a little bit. Yeah.
I didn't know if I was just that boring or what. I looked over a time or two and thought you was dozing off.
I think I did once. Welcome, Sheriff, back on a Friday, and we have a lot to talk about today. We seem to have a lot to talk about every Friday, don't we?
Yeah, we do. There's a lot of events going on, and like I say, this is the month for events. Everybody's trying to get their stuff in before the cold weather sets in, and of course, I don't know if it's coming or not. We're into fall now, and it's still in the 80s, so it looks like it's going to be a little bit cooler this week, though. I think it's going to cool down a little bit.
Yes.
Yeah. Still looking for some rain. We desperately need some. I've been hearing tales of people's wells going dry and running low, and having to dig a little deeper and get a better reservoir and those kind of things. So, knock on wood just a little bit. We still have water and our well's fine right now, but we know that could change any moment, and we just, we're just praying for some rain to move in. And we was hoping we get some off this hurricane that's coming up the coast, but I don't think we're going to get any off of it. It's going to stay off the coast, which I got my tongue tied up now, which is good for the people who live on the
my
coast.
world.
There you go. Which is good for the people that live out there. It looks like it's the strength of it's dying down just a little bit, and so maybe there won't be too much impact out there. Maybe we'll have some minimal impact there on the coast, but also praying for those people out there, because I think one person has also already lost their life in Florida, and we hope that that's it. We hope there's no more casualties because of that hurricane coming. We'll just have to keep a check on that. But there is a lot of things going on this weekend and weekends to come. Starting tomorrow, we are having the Veterans Appreciation Day down there at, I think it's called the Band of Brothers Veterans Park down there on Carriage Lane. I think it's actual address. For anybody that's looking, it's 430 Carriage Lane. It's off Pleasant Valley, just down below the jail there at Roger Swanson's property. And we've got a lot of things that's going on there tomorrow. It's starting at 10 o'clock. You probably already saw the signs out on the 4-lane, and some different signs coming in. They're expecting a pretty good crowd to attend that. I also want to remind you that this is for Veterans Appreciation. It doesn't mean you have to be a veteran to attend. It's open to the public. Anybody can come. If you'd just like to appreciate the veterans and the good things that they've done for our country and just acknowledge them and just have a fun day and an educational day, please come out and take part of that. I think we do have scheduled. Don't think there's going to be any weather-related issues, but pending any weather-related issues, we do have a scheduled UH-1 Huey to come in and land there at the site. There's going to be entertainment that's going to be there all day long, some different singing, some different groups, and different things that'll be happening there. And one of the thing about the Band of Brothers Veterans Park, if you've never been down there and hadn't ever went and looked at that, I encourage you to come tomorrow and look at the displays that are down there. And they're open all the time. If you would like to stop by anytime during the week, and if you can't make it tomorrow but like to stop by anytime, please just stop by there and look at that. Roger encourages anybody that would like to come in there and just walk through and just look at the displays that are down there. He has some military aircraft that's down there. He's got it set up. One of the old Hueys that he's got in there, it's got set up like it's landed on a rice paddy and representing the Vietnam era. He's got some different trucks and equipment in there from not just Vietnam era, but also the Korean War era, from World War II, he even has a truck from World War I.
Oh, wow.
With the actual paperwork and pictures of the truck itself on the battlefield in World War I. So it's really neat of some of the stuff that he has down there and has got set up for that. Also, along with that, he is setting up, some people have asked and didn't know what was going on with the white crosses that were put up down there. He's got almost like a little mini Arlington set up with a bunch of white crosses with names on it.
Oh, nice.
And some people ask, what is that about? And what that is for is those white crosses are men that have died that were from Cherokee County, that had died in different wars, from World War I all the way up to the Iraq War, all the way up to recent days. If you're from Cherokee County and have died during wartime, in the active war, they have Rogers put you a cross up down there with the name of that person. So if you have a relative that's from Cherokee County that has died in war, check that out. You should find their name down there. And if you don't find their name, just let Roger know, that there's another one there that he missed, and he's tried his best to include everybody that he could find. He's went through the Veterans Administration office and tried to get all the names of everybody from Cherokee County. But if there was one missed, just let him know. And that way he'll get your cross and get your relative's name put on there. So
I bet a lot of people would drive by this location every day and not realize what all's there. I didn't realize all this was there.
Right. He actually has one of the displays he has down there too is a covered display with, of course, they're decommissioned, they're stripped out, they don't work anymore. So it's just the hull. They don't have any firing mechanisms or anything in it, but it's just the hull of different military weapons,
right?
Used from different wars. He has them propped up in kind of a circle under a shed, and he has in each weapon he has boots from that era, and also a helmet from that era, and representing all the different wars that our veterans has taken part in. And also people have brought their loved ones and different ones dog tags and hung on that, on whatever era that war was. So he's got some very neat displays down there.
He has put some time into making this.
A lot of time, a lot of different things down there.
Fantastic.
So that's right here in Murphy. That's right here in Cherokee County, and a lot of people don't even realize that exists.
Yeah, I didn't know all that existed. And for folks, if you don't know where Pleasant Valley Road is, you can connect either end of it. They're near Bojangles or by Murphy Building Supply. So
Right.
is there any preferred traffic pattern that your office is suggesting?
The parking for it is going to be in the fields between Rogers driveway and the sheriff's office. So it probably would be better to come in from the sheriff's office side, from there for the local people there from the Sweet Tooth, from that end where Pleasant Valley runs out. If you come in from that end, you should be able to go straight into parking from that side. But we will be taking parking from either direction. So.
I think I saw a big DOT sign flashing there near the Walmart intersection last night.
Right. There's one there to come in by Walmart to turn on Pleasant Valley Road there by Bojangles, and there's another one of those signs down near Ingalls when you're coming up from the other way to let you know to turn left when you get up to the Walmart intersection.
So anyone listening, it should be a pretty easy location to find.
Right. And I think most of our visitors from out of town, we've been getting a lot of calls and a lot of people from out of town that's wanting to come take part in this tomorrow. But I think for our local people, it'd probably be better to come in from the Sweet Tooth side because there will be so many people coming the other way.
Right.
So if you're local and you're listening to this broadcast and would like to come to that, you can come from either direction depending on where you live, but it might be a little bit easier to come from the sheriff's office side to get in there.
All right. And Joe Thorley is going to be there broadcasting during the 11 o'clock hour tomorrow from WKRK. He does our Friday night football along with Tom. So join us if you can't make it to the event. We'd love for you to make it to the event, but if not, just hear what Joe and he's going to interview. Maybe he can get Kathy on the air. I tried to sweet talk her this morning, but no.
I tried to talk to her this morning about coming on the air, and she just got all tongue-tied and frustrated with me just trying to ask her to come to talk on the radio.
She was here earlier today. I said, why don't you stay right? No.
Yeah, she wasn't too enthused about talking on the radio. So I do get her to from time to time, but it's very quick.
Yeah, she's a sweet lady.
Also with this thing tomorrow, just so people understand, is they're also going to have some Ranger battalions from different places. I think the 5th Ranger Battalion from Camp Merrill is coming, doing some flag corps stuff and some different things there. Also, there's going to be representatives from all over, from everywhere from the U.S. Forest Service that's donating the helicopter for tomorrow. There's going to be representatives there for that. We'll also have some Congress representatives from Congress, from Senate, from the different people. I'm sure our local commissioners will be there. Just some different politicians and different people around. Of course, our Veterans Administration office, I'm sure, will be there. So we've got different people that are coming to take part in this tomorrow, and I think it's going to be a pretty big deal. They're expecting somewhere in the vicinity of about 300 to 500 people coming to this, is what we're expecting. There could be a whole lot more depending on the weather and what's going on tomorrow. So just come on out and have a fun day. Take part of that. There's going to be food there too. That always brings people out.
Oh, yeah. Everyone loves to eat.
Yeah. So come get you a hamburger, hot dog, barbecue, whatever they're cooking out there tomorrow. So come take part in that. But one thing I also want to talk about tomorrow real quick is the fact of that we're going to have a biker group in town tomorrow. Mm-hmm. And some people may see them coming into town and get real worried when they see them because they got their leather jackets and their Harley Davidsons and all these people coming into Murphy. So they may get real worried when they see this, what they might think it's a biker gang rolling into town. But basically what this is they're calling themselves Bikers Against Child Abuse. Mm-hmm. And so what they do is it's a nonprofit program that was developed in 1995 with some people who worked in the system that was fought against child abuse, that was involved in the court systems and all these different things that just happened to ride motorcycles too. And so what they decided to do was in 1995 they created this Bikers Against Child Abuse for the purpose of creating a safer environment for abused children. And what they're there to do is you actually have to do an application to be involved with them for if you're a child abuse victim or family of child abuse victim. But what they do is once they take their applications and look over those, if you're chosen to be part of this, they actually adopt you into their biker group and give you a biker name for these kids. And when they're brought into their biker group and given a biker name, mm-hmm. They adopt them into their biker family. And therefore, since they're part of their family, they are there to protect them. And they're there to create a safe environment for them. And so what happens is they do a lot of different things around the country. And if there's kids who are feeling threatened or feeling afraid because of the court system or feeling afraid because of the perpetrator, maybe a family member or someone close by that they're afraid that person might hurt them or might get them again. This group, these Bikers Against Child Abuse, come in and they work with these kids and basically protect them and just have a feeling of safety around these kids. They don't do it all the time, but sometimes, depending on the situations, if it's an extreme case, they may even go to the schools and they may even stay outside the child's classroom just so where the child can see them through the window, or they may go to the child's house and park in their driveway to where if the child gets up in the middle of the night, looks out the window, they can see their biker family in the driveway there to protect them and to keep anything bad from happening to them. And it's more of just a safety thing to make these kids feel safe and to make these kids feel comfortable. One thing I do want to say about them is they work with law enforcement. They work with the court system. They work with DSS. Right. So they're not a vigilante group. They're not a group out here that is that's just running wild in the community. They're actually here working with these government agencies, following rules, following guidelines, and I actually met with them about a month ago and when I found out they were coming into town. And had a good conversation with them, and they don't want to get in the way of the court system. They don't want to get in the way of law enforcement. They're just there to create that safe environment for kids. And so I think it's a wonderful thing.
It's a great public service.
I think it's a wonderful thing. And one of the things that we want to do also tomorrow in conjunction with this thing that's going on at the Veterans Appreciation Day is they will be in Conahita Park tomorrow, mm-hmm. Approximately around 1 to 2, somewhere along in there. And so what we want to do is we want to try to get some law enforcement officers to go down and help with that, and be a part of that. And so these kids can see law enforcement and the biker groups working together and being on the same page. And so they understand, because a lot of these kids come from these homes where police was portrayed as the bad guys, right. And they're portrayed as the ones that will take mom and dad away. They're the ones that are put people in jail that are bad. So this group wants us to come work with them so we can present to the kids that are around and the kids that are available that we're not at odds with each other, that we're not against each other, that we're working together to protect the kids. And so I just think it's a wonderful thing they're doing. Like I say, it's a nonprofit group. They volunteer their time. They don't make any money off of this. All the money they bring in and they make goes back into protecting kids. So I just think it's a wonderful service for the kids out there, just so that the ones that are going through this abuse anyway will feel safe and know that there are people out there on their side that'll help them.
That is a great public service. I'm glad you told us about that.
One thing I do want to say about this, though, and I think it's important to say, if there are any perpetrators or anybody out there that are listening, this group, and even in their mission statement, says that they do not condone violence. They told me that even when they come to meet with me, that they don't condone violence or physical force or harm in any manner. However, they are there to protect the child.
Right.
And so if it's a problem between someone hurting a child or not, they will intervene. They will get in the way. And so I just want to for any perpetrators out there to understand that they're not here to hurt people. They're not here to show violence. But you need to be careful around them if you're a perpetrator.
Got to protect the kids.
That's it, because they're here to protect the kids. And they recognize the fact of there's things that law enforcement can't do. Mm-hmm. And they also acknowledge the fact of that their main goal is to protect the children. And one of them shared with me that they have no desire to do anything illegal or anything wrong, but if need be, they will go to jail to protect the kid. So, right. So we just need to make sure that people understand that, put that disclaimer out there. But they are good people. They're everyone that I talk to are there for the right reasons. They're there with good heart. They're there, for the one purpose of trying to better the community and trying to enrich these children's lives, to help them grow up to be productive citizens. And so I do want to just say that, that when you see this group coming in, and there could be anywhere from 20 to 50 to 75 that come Saturday. So if you're going to the park and all these bikes start rolling in, I just want people to understand not to be afraid.
Are they coming from just different towns across
different areas all across the United States? And we got some children here in Cherokee County they're working with, and so they're coming here to the park tomorrow to just kind of do a meet and greet, to meet the kids, to do these kind of things. And so it's like I say, they're coming for the right reasons, and they're coming from all over. And like I say, people just volunteer their time. So these bikers that live in Tennessee, some live in Georgia, Alabama, South Carolina, North Carolina, all around, they're volunteering their Saturday just to come here just to meet these kids that need some friends.
That's great.
Yeah,
that is great.
Right. Changing gears a little bit, and man, we've about taken up our time already.
We talk a lot, don't
we?
We
do. But changing gears a little bit, also on the 10th, October 10th, is the Running with Law Enforcement. Mm-hmm. And this is a thing that's put on by our Sheriff's Office Women's Association, and it's a fundraiser for their group. And what they are doing is it's called Running with the Law. It's a 5-mile or 5K walk run. If you can't run 5K, don't worry about it. You can walk it. You can take your time. You take all day to walk it if you'd like. That's not a problem. But this is happening. Actually, I said October 10th. It's October 29th, Saturday, 29th. October the 29th. Okay. The registration is October 10th. So when you have to turn the registration
Which is in 3 days.
In 3 days, yeah. But this evening race on October 29th, it starts at 6 p.m. sharp. And what will happen is it will start there at the Cherokee County Sheriff's Office. Mm-hmm. And what we're planning on doing for that day is on the course itself, on different points throughout the course, is we will have law enforcement there with their cars and with their blue lights on to kind of light the way for people to run. Okay. And what it is just to show appreciation to law enforcement. It's a way for law enforcement to get involved with the community. We will have officers actually walking and running in this race with the community. We'll have officers on the course, like I say, in different locations, different places. But the reason I mentioned October 10th is their registration forms. They're a $25 registration fee, but if you turn the $25 registration fee in by October 10th, then you'll be guaranteed a T-shirt. Okay. If you can come up to the day of the race and run, you can run that day. Just show up on the 29th and walk around that day, and there will be T-shirts available, but you're not guaranteed one if you come then. So if you turn in your registration form by October 10th, you'll be guaranteed a T-shirt that will have Running with the Law on it. And just to make sure people understand this also, the proceeds will benefit the Cherokee County Sheriff's Office Women's Association. It don't come to the office itself. It comes to this Auxiliary Women's Association program. But registration is free for all current law enforcement officers. And but if you're a law enforcement officer and you want to run in this, even though it's free, you still have to do a registration. You still need to register for that and sign up for that. So it'll be even to the day of the event. Registration will be open on that day from 5 o'clock to 5:30. So if you can't register ahead of time but would like to show up, please come there on 5 o'clock on October 29th and register. And the extra shirts will be on a first come, first served basis. And so,
where exactly is the course? You said it starts there at the sheriff's office.
It starts there at the sheriff's office, and it comes down basically around Regal and around Murphy Pool and through town and back around to the sheriff's office. I believe it winds back up there. So Stephanie Swanson is the one that put this together. And so she will. She's the one that can answer all your questions about stations and different things in between, and the times and all that kind of stuff. But
folks can reach her at 837-2589.
2589, and her email address is stephanie.swanson@cherokeecounty-nc.gov. So it's the county website with Stephanie.Swanson in front of it. So, but we're going to meet at the flagpole there at 5:45 on October 29th. We'll do a welcoming, and we'll get everybody started. We'll go over the rules and kind of where they need to go and that kind of thing. And so you can find registration forms at the Cherokee County Sheriff's Office, Murphy Police Department, Hiawassee Valley Pool and Wellness Center, the Andrews Police Department, or the compound or park up in Peachtree. You can find registrations at any one of those places. So come out, support law enforcement, and let's do a walk around there on October 29th, get some exercise, get healthy, and also build relationships with our local law enforcement.
All right. Yeah. I do want to mention before we go off the air about we posted this on Facebook with a picture there. On the square in downtown Murphy, there's that red box that everybody's been seeing for years, and it's the U.S. flag retirement box, and that's located right in the center of town, and it has been stolen.
Right.
And Murphy Police Department is investigating this, and it was stolen in broad daylight.
Right.
So somewhere between noon and 5 p.m.
Yeah.
that day on Wednesday.
If anybody saw anything there on Wednesday, please report that to Murphy Police Department about what you saw. I mean, it's right there in the middle of town. People are driving by. I'm sure people have got tons of information as to what they saw. So if you saw any vehicles parked by there, or saw anybody putting the box on the trucks or anything like that, please call Assistant Chief Destin Smith over at Murphy Police Department and let them know kind of what you saw there. They've already got some information, and they've done some interviews with people, but I'm sure any information they can get be better for them.
I know a lot of people are outraged about that because it is a sign of disrespect.
It is.
And
we're hoping, our I guess if there is a hope in this, we're hoping there might be some kind of mix-up with this. I do know, like the Veterans of Foreign Wars were closing their chapter. And I know they had a box at the sheriff's office a few months ago that they came and picked up there because they were closing their chapter. So I'm hoping there's some kind of mix-up, and maybe somebody was picking up boxes and maybe just got the wrong box or something.
Right.
So, but without identifying the people and tracking them down and interviewing them, we won't know that until we do talk to the people who actually got the box. So if you saw anything or know anything, please report that to Murphy Police Department.
And their phone number is
837-2214, I believe.
I think you're right. I was going to guess that.
Yeah. Yeah, I believe it's 2214. Or you can call 835-3144, which is the dispatch number, and they can get a hold of whoever they need to get a hold of there too.
Very good.
Yeah.
All right. What else we got to talk about?
Just real quick, we're still, we're trying to do the best we can on fighting this drug epidemic, I might say, in our communities. We're making a lot of progress, and we're getting ahead there. But one thing that we also want people to understand is that as long as people want it, as long as there's a demand, they're going to find it. They're going to get it. And what we've been doing is we've been making some pretty good arrests and knocking some main players out. But whenever you do, somebody else is ready to take up their spot and come back. And so we knock it out temporarily, and then after a while it starts flowing again. And it's we have to cut that supply off, and it's just a never-ending battle on doing that. But even as late as last night, our officers were up in the Andrews area doing some investigations, stopping cars, making some drug arrests up there. We made another one this morning. We'll be doing a press release out about with a joint operation with Cherokee Police Department. So where we're seizing substantial quantities of drugs off the streets. But like I say, it's just never in a battle. We have to keep at it. But one of the things that I want to make sure that people understand and keep trying to refresh memories is that there's a whole lot of them and a whole few of us.
Right.
And so a lot of people call in and say, well, we've got this problem in my area, and we got our street, these drug dealers on my street, and these things going on. And it's not that we don't care or we don't sympathize. It's the fact that a lot of times our guys have to go home and sleep sometimes. You know, they've got families they have to go to sometimes. So we can't, even with the people we have, we can't work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So there has to be some downtime with that. But what we are trying to do is get to as many locations, to as many places as possible. We've got several target areas within Cherokee County, all the way from Topton to the Tennessee line and everywhere in between. We've got some different areas that we know are very nuisance problems or very real problems, and we're trying to focus in and target on those areas. But also to remind people that a lot of times, even though you may not see us, doesn't mean we're not there, because there's a lot of undercover work and there's a lot of things that we do that you're never going to see a sheriff's office car or see us around, but we are there working on it and we're doing things. But I still encourage people to call. If you have an issue, you have a problem, still call and report it. And sometimes we can tell you things we're doing, sometimes we can't.
Right.
Sometimes we know all about it, but we have to sit there and smile and pretend like we don't know anything about it. We're taking your information. You know, just still continue to report those things, because if we don't know it, we can't do anything about it. And unfortunately, there's some things we can't talk about or can't tell you about. And so we may very well be working on it, but we just can't tell you about it. So, but still report those things, because I think the drug problem is the number one thing that's plaguing our area. And people say, well, what about the breaking and enterings? What about the larcenies? What about the assaults? And, you know, all these different things that are happening. And it's true, all those things need to be worked on, and we are working on those things. However, when you get to the core of the problem, it always comes back to drugs and drug activity. Let me back up. I won't say always, but it comes back to the majority of the time. Right. It comes back to drugs and drug activity. And so I felt like this from the beginning. I still feel like it, that if we fight drugs and we fight it as hard as we can at the best of our abilities, then we're fighting every other crime that are out there in Cherokee County. So we're just keeping at it, plugging away at it, working hard and doing the best we can. And some days, you know, just like myself, for example, I came in at I think at 7:30 yesterday morning, and I went home last night at about 10 o'clock last night, 10:30 last night. So we are all day, every day going after this stuff. But sometimes you do have to take a break, and sometimes you have to get away from it for a day or two.
People who grew up here, say in the 60s or so, we kind of had a feeling, I say we, I wasn't born yet, but just from everything I've heard, it was a very similar thing to what you would see on Mayberry, on the Andy Griffith show.
Right.
What would it take to get back? Because a lot of people move here want that feel. Right. What would it take to get back to that feeling?
I hate to be negative, but I don't know that we will ever get back to that, just to be honest with you. I mean, society has changed, attitudes have changed, everything has changed. For an example, last night, the reason I say that is last night when the officers were on a traffic stop, there was a young man who was pacing, was very nervous, who was upset, different things. So one of the officers approached him. He was in a parking lot nearby, and one of the officers approached him just to kind of see what's going on with him to get his identification. Well, this young man was very belligerent and was very offended, and actually wanted to file a complaint on the officer to me because he asked him for his identification, asked him if he used drugs, you know. And it was like me, I tried to explain to him, you know, that's what we do. You know, you're showing signs of drug activity, you're showing signs of drug use, you're acting suspicious. So, yeah, he's going to ask you, you know, are you using drugs? What's your identification thing? But society has gotten to this place to where they're actually portraying and feeling like that police have no right to ask you anything, or no right to stop you, or no right to question you. And as long as that attitude's there, that respect is gone, we will not get back to that Mayberry place. Right. We'll not get back to there, because Mayberry hinged on people loving one another and respecting one another.
The respect, I think, is a huge central part of that. And we see on social media just how disrespectful people, I mean, someone could say something and someone just immediately just start going off
Yeah.
on someone for no reason at all.
And I've noticed that on even posts that we post on social media, that there's always people, and it's not just local people, it's people all over the country that are monitoring these law enforcement officer pages. And when we post something about an arrest or anything that we post on there, we're constantly getting blasted and bombarded by negative responses and negative things about police and, and negative work and negative this and negative that. And as long as that attitude's there, and as long as people don't respect, and as long as people don't love and don't care about each other, unfortunately those days are gone that we can't recover. It's going to take us getting back to realizing what it's important in this country and what's important in our life, and we've got to get back to the thing of just like this young gentleman said last night. He said, sheriff or no sheriff, police or no police, I'm not respecting nobody unless you respect me, kind of thing, And my thought process to that was, you're wrong. Law enforcement should be respected because they're law enforcement.
Right.
Exactly. And that's kind of the attitude that we've gotten away from. People want us as law enforcement officers to bend over backwards and cower down and not ask any questions, not do anything, but still get treated badly and treated badly by the public. And people are expecting us to sit back and take it, and we can't do that. We've got a job to do. We've got citizens to protect. And I think if we could ever find our place to get him back to there, then we can find Mayberry again, and we can find those places again. And I guess I'll take it a little different turn that people may not like or may not expect, but it's the truth. How do we get back to that place? How do we get back to loving one another? How do we get back to respecting one another? God said you can love one another because he first loved us. So until we learn how to love God again, we're not going to love each other again. So we've got to get back to the Christian foundation and principles and beliefs that this country is founded on, putting loving God with our mind, soul, and strength. And when we do that, we can find love to one another.
All right. Sheriff, thank you very much.
Thank you.
We appreciate that, and we appreciate you being here every week and just maintaining the peace in the county, or trying your best to work as many hours as you possibly can do. So
yeah, I'm my wife, she gets frustrated sometimes with the hours we work, and so I sometimes have to take off and do things for her and the family and just show them that I'm it's not all about the sheriff's office. I still love you too. So
all right. As you should.
As I should, yeah.
Absolutely. All right. Sheriff, we'll do this again next week, same time, same place, same channel.
Thank
right
you.
Here on WKRK in Murphy.